If you're trying to sound confident and polished in English, whether it's for a job interview, an important meeting, or even just writing a professional email, there are certain mistakes you must avoid. These aren't just grammar slips. They're errors that can make you sound less fluent, less prepared, and even less trustworthy in professional settings. The good news is, most of them are easy to fix once you become aware of them. In this lesson, we're going to break down 10 common mistakes that make English learners sound unprofessional and show you how to speak with clarity, confidence, and fluency. Let's get started. 1. Using I am agree instead of I agree. One of the most common mistakes learners make in professional situations is saying I am agree, which sounds incorrect and immediately signals a lack of fluency. In English, agree is a verb, not an adjective. So you should say, I agree, not I am agree. For example, in a meeting, someone might say, I think we should delay the launch, and your response should be, yes, I agree with that, not yes, I am agree. This may seem like a small detail, but native speakers instantly notice it. To fix this, try repeating short responses like, I agree, I disagree, and I completely agree during your daily practice. This will help train your ear and mouth to get used to the correct form naturally. 2. Saying more better instead of better. Many learners try to emphasize improvement by saying more better, but this sounds awkward and incorrect in English. Better is already a comparative word. It doesn't need more before it. In a business presentation, for example, saying, this idea is more better than the last one, can damage your credibility. The correct sentence is simply, this idea is better than the last one. It's stronger, cleaner, and more professional. Learners often add more out of habit, especially if their first language uses double comparatives. But in English, it's seen as a basic mistake. To fix it, review common comparatives like better, worse, faster, slower, and make flashcards with correct examples. Saying better without more will become automatic with enough practice. 3. Overusing very in formal speech or writing. Saying things like very good, very nice, or very important isn't grammatically wrong. But when used too often in professional English, it sounds simplistic or even a bit lazy. Instead of very good, say excellent. Instead of very important, say essential or crucial. For example, in a business email, writing, this is very important, for our team is okay. But writing, this is essential for our team's success, is stronger and more impressive. Many learners overuse very because it feels safe and easy. But relying on it too much weakens your message. A smart solution is to build a list of power words that replace very plus adjective. Practice upgrading one sentence per day using a stronger word, and you'll quickly sound sharper and more professional. 4. Saying, I have 25 years old, instead of, I am 25 years old. This is a classic grammar mistake that immediately signals you're still learning the basics. In English, we use the verb to be with age, not to have. So instead of saying, I have 25 years old, which is incorrect and unnatural, the correct phrase is, I am 25 years old. For example, in a job interview, if someone asks you to introduce yourself and you say, I have 30 years, it might sound confusing or even unprofessional. A better way to say it is, I'm 30 years old and I have 5 years of experience in this field. Many learners make this mistake because in their native languages, age uses the verb have. The best way to correct it is to create full self-introduction sentences and repeat them regularly. That way, I am becomes automatic when talking about your age. 5. Using he don't instead of he doesn't. This is a small mistake that creates a big impression, and not in a good way. Saying he don't know instead of he doesn't know can make you sound unpolished or careless, especially in meetings, presentations, or emails. 6. Using actually when you mean currently. This is a subtle but very common mistake, and it often leads to confusion in professional communication. Many learners use the word actually to talk about the present time when they actually mean currently or at the moment. For example, they might say, actually, I work for a marketing company, when what they mean is, currently, I work for a marketing company. In English, actually means, in fact, or, to be honest, not right now. If you use it incorrectly, it can change the meaning of your sentence and make your message unclear. A better sentence would be, currently, I'm working on a new project, or, at the moment, I'm part of the research team. You can fix this by learning the true meaning of actually and paying attention to how native speakers use both currently and actually in interviews, podcasts, and conversations. 7. Using since 3 years instead of for 3 years. This is one of the most common tense mistakes in English, and one that sounds especially unprofessional in resumes, interviews, or formal writing. Learners often say, I've worked here since 3 years, which is incorrect. Since is used with a specific starting point, like a year, date, or moment in time, while for is used with a duration. The correct sentence is, I've worked here for 3 years, or I've worked here since 2021. If you say since 3 years, it shows that you haven't mastered this grammar rule yet. One of the best ways to fix this is to make 2 columns, one for since and one for, and fill them with sample phrases. Practice saying them aloud. Since January, for 6 months. Since high school, for 2 weeks. This helps you use them correctly without overthinking. 8. Using I'm boring when you mean I'm bored. This mistake changes how people see you, literally. Saying, I'm boring means you're not interesting, not exciting, which is probably not what you mean to say. If you're tired or uninterested in something, the correct phrase is, I'm bored. For example, if someone asks, how was the event? And you say, I'm boring, it sounds like you're describing your personality. And that's not a great impression to give. The better sentence is, I was bored, the event was too long. Many learners confuse bored and boring because their native language might use one word for both. In English, adjectives ending in ed describe feelings, I'm bored, and those ending in ing describe things or situations. The event was boring. Practice describing your feelings versus the situation out loud until the difference becomes natural. 9. Ending sentences with no for confirmation instead of using a tag question. In many languages, it's common to end sentences with a word like no or yes to ask for confirmation. But in English, using no at the end of your sentence, like you work in finance, no, sounds awkward or foreign. The more professional and natural way to confirm something is by using a tag question, such as, you work in finance, don't you? Or, she's on the team, isn't she? Using correct tag questions not only improves your grammar, it also helps your speech sound more natural and confident. If this feels difficult, try starting with simple structures like, it's raining, isn't it? Or, you're from Canada, aren't you? Listen closely to how native speakers confirm information and mimic their structure until it becomes second nature. 10. Saying I didn't went instead of I didn't go. This is a verb tense error that many learners make without realizing it, especially when they're nervous or speaking quickly. After the auxiliary verb, did, in negative past sentences, the main verb must stay in its base form, not in the past tense. So instead of saying, I didn't went to the meeting, the correct form is, I didn't go to the meeting. Using the past tense twice in the same sentence, didn't and went, is a mistake that can really stand out in a professional environment. It may seem small, but it affects how people perceive your accuracy and attention to detail. The best way to fix it is to drill negative past tense sentences out loud. I didn't eat. She didn't call. They didn't leave. The more you say it right, the less likely you are to slip up when it matters most.